Mark, there's just no jobs out there. But Mark, I couldn't possibly learn how to trade. I don't have any time. Learning to trade is too risky. Do you have the ability to make more money in your job right now? Or do you need a second income? I just got back from viewing a site. I'm negotiating a bit of land that I want to build on and potentially put Falcon HQ on there. Now we're going back and forth, we're negotiating, we're looking at prices, we're looking at what is the potential uplift in the next 2 to 3 years. By 2028, across the board, especially I can speak from the UK, it's highly likely that even house prices will be 20% more than the value. So if you imagine a 500k house that you're looking to buy, maybe as a first time buyer, or you're looking to move out, if it's 500k now, it's highly likely it'll be like 580, 600. That's going to be very normal. But you've got to ask yourself, in your current job, will you be making an extra 20% or not? Or do you need to consider a different pathway or an extra income? Now more than ever, if you look at the state of the UK, even more so, I'm not going to get into politics, but what I will say, this should give you so much urgency to have an extra income. Whether it is drop shipping, affiliate marketing, learning to trade, I don't care what it is, you should have something. You should be working towards something. And we need to start to change this way of thinking, this culture of trying to escape your job, when you should be thinking about maximizing the current job that you have. If there is a pathway for you to take on a little bit more responsibility that doesn't compromise your whole entire life, where you can make more money, great. And then it's going to be, when you get back from work, what are you doing after? Because there are savages out there that have got 2 to 3 kids, they're thinking about their family, they're thinking about the longevity, and they recognize that if they just stay there and do nothing, in a couple of years from now, when you're, maybe you've got a newborn baby and you want to move out, you want a bigger space. The house that you're looking at right now is going to be worth a lot more. So if your wages are not going to go up, you're not going to be able to afford it in the first place. We already have a record amount of people than ever that just cannot get onto the property ladder, whatever that means. But you get it. Society has told you, you need a house, you need to get married, and all these other things. I'm telling you this because of the next 2 to 3 years, the world is going to look very different and it's going to change. And you don't want to be someone who's left behind because you're being a dinosaur and you're just not willing to make short-term sacrifices. There are so many things changing at such a fast pace. Look at things like AI. If you were to ask me 2 to 3 years ago, I wouldn't have really been concerned about it. I'm still not for myself, but I can understand a concern for other people. It's not that AI is going to take and replace loads of people's jobs. It's just companies will stop hiring at the pace that they are because they will recognize, well, hey, I can just get AI to do some copywriting. Hey, there's AI assistants now that almost become your little AI buddy that learns what you do. So you'll see, again, virtual assistants like PAs, it would just be an AI. So it's not that it's going to replace what you do, but it's the people that can merge with the robots, people that can work with it will do better. We're definitely seeing this already in the property industry, especially when it comes to law as well. People that are working with it are going to be so much more efficient and get deals done if they're open-minded to AI. When it comes to things like trading, they've tried to do this with trading a lot. If AI took over trading, it would be the end of trading. Right, and I can save that topic for another video. However, AI can only, just a short story of it, AI can only really give you an opinion. The human still needs to be involved. So yes, there are going to be some, algorithms here and there. People have created bots for years, but they always have to tweak them and so on. So you gain a competitive advantage by being a human in this scenario. And you have to also accept that it doesn't matter how advanced AI gets, there still needs to be a human to operate. There still needs to be a human involved to a degree. So you've got to find your edge in certain situations. I'm explaining this point because it should give you urgency, because in 2 to 3 years from now, there are going to be people that have made the relevant sacrifices to go, I don't want to be at the mercy of whatever government is involved that is now penalising me for doing well and just charging me more tax. I want to have some element of control and freedom for myself and my family. So what would I do if I was you right now? After having that conversation, and I sat there and thought, right, it's fine for myself because I'm just seeing it as another asset that I want to acquire, and then I get 20% appreciation over the next 2 to 3 years, and I'll just carry on as normal. But it wasn't always the same for me. I was in the position many, many years ago where I would be thinking about how on earth am I going to be able to afford a house if I want that? And then if I get married and I have some kids, etc., how am I going to then put them through private school? How am I going to do these things? Well, I wouldn't be able to because it would be dependent on, do I have another income? I think there is a much smarter play here. I don't care what you pick, just pick something. Maximize your job. Find a way to gain a bit more responsibility in which that you add value to the company where you can make more, and then pick up another skill that within a couple of years from now, you can be really competent at it, that it starts to not just replace your income, still stay in your job. Of course, ideally find something that you like what you do, or brings the best out in you, would I say. You don't always have to, I don't buy this nonsense of, you have to love every waking minute of the job that you do. No, that's absolute rubbish. You're just chasing a fantasy at this point. Find something that brings the best out in you. Find something that maybe challenges you and then provides income. And then you can stack that whilst you're building another skill on the side. And you might find, let's say you make 2,000 a month or 3,000 a month, you might find in a couple of years, the skill that you've built is also making you 2,000 to 3,000. Live below your means. This is how people get wealthy and they get ahead. Live below your means, keep stacking, then start investing. And then before you know it, you'll wake up in a few years from now and you'll have so much more money, you won't be in debt, and you'll be in such a stronger financial position. And if you've got that extra skill, if you don't like your current work, you can say, hey, it probably wouldn't be a good idea for me to lose this income that I've got at my job, but I don't particularly enjoy it. I've kind of outgrown the position. I can find something else. And then if you wanted to take 6 months of looking for something else, well, then you could do that, because you're now in a position of choice, because you've got more savings. You're not just at the mercy of being stuck in a dead-end job. So now is the time to put yourself in the strongest position ever. I'm going to share with you something that took me almost a decade to figure out. And had I figured it out earlier, I would have made so much more money, and I would be so much more mentally stable and more on the ball. And I think I'd be even wealthier than I am right now. I'm telling this to you because there are unique periods in life when you have to recognize when the world is changing at a fast pace, and you should be doing something about it with urgency. Because there are people out there right now with more responsibility than you, but with less excuses than you, and they're getting on with shit. And with more things going on in their life, more stress, more chaos to manage. So what would I do if I was you? Find something. Find something that you resonate with, that you're willing to commit even 1 hour per evening towards a skill that will improve your life. That's all you need, 1 hour. And you have to ask yourself, do you have 1 hour? I hope you come back to this video at some point. If you're watching this video as well, in whatever unit of time, I genuinely hope it reaches you, that it gives you a wake-up call and go, I have had so many excuses. Let me cut the crap, and it starts right now. Let me commit to something. Commit to something. Because if you do that, you'll wake up in a year from now and be in a much better position. But you have to make that decision. It's all about making decisions in difficult times, not dwelling on, I wonder if the politics change and then maybe that favors me. You can't rely on that. You have to take charge of this. So this is what I would do if I was you. And this is what I learned. I learned far too late on that if I fix a lot of my finances and I cut a lot of the crap and I trim the fat out of my spending, I'll be so much more clearer. Not wealthier, that's just implied. If you trim the fat, you'll have a little bit more money. It was more about it decluttered my mind. So a lot of the times, it's less about if you trim all of your non-essentials, things that are not really pushing you towards your goals. If you went through your bank statements and said, hey, I spend a bit too much money on coffee. Hey, I spend a bit too much money on takeaways. If you trim that out, you would be wealthier. Great, so you've got more money. But it's more about what it does to your mind that I found that is more important. So by doing that exercise, you win twice, double whammy. You get the benefit of having more money available, and you've decluttered your mind. So it means that you think clearer and you make better decisions, and there's less weight. There's less weight on your shoulders, because deep down, a lot of the times, you know you're overspending on crap. You just don't really want to address it. And it's not a big enough consequence right now, and it's not doing anything so bad to you. So you just ignore it and you'll escape. So again, let's get out of that mindset and move towards more of a prosperous way of thinking. So whether it is the evening for you, morning for you, whether it is the weekend for you and you're watching this, grab a sheet of paper and write down on it, cut the crap, or write down non-essentials, whichever one that you choose. And I want you to figure out what are the things that you're spending money on, because there's two ways that we can approach this. If I was sitting down with you and you asked me, Mark, I want to fix my life, and in 2 to 3 years to now, I want it to look very different. What advice would I give you? I would say, let's go through your bank statements, let's grab a sheet of paper, and let's write down what is the crap that you can get rid of right now. We go through all of that, and then you commit to that and go, I'm not spending money on this, this doesn't serve me anymore. Then we would work out what the figure amount is. And the figure amount would be 300 a month, 400, 500. You will be gobsmacked how much people waste money on crap that does not move them towards this life that they aspire to live. So we get that figure and go, great, you're now £500 a month richer. How do you feel now? Great. Well, that's the equivalent of maybe a 5 to 6k year rise in your wages. When are you going to get that? probably not anytime soon, where you've just achieved it just by fixing your spending. I watched an interview on Pat David not that long ago. He was talking about something that I resonate with, that I share a lot about, which is people don't generally have an earning problem, they have a spending problem. And what he means by that is that it doesn't matter how much you earn, because you'll always get pay rises, you'll probably find a way to make more money, but it doesn't matter if you go from 40k to 50k to 60 to 100, you cannot out-earn your bad spending habits. So you have to fix that first. So I would do that, fix that, and it gives you clarity. You'll have a lot more confidence, realizing I've got a bit more control now. I might not be making the money that I want to make today, but I've made a change that I've got instant fixes of better financial literacy just by doing that already. And if you start putting that into a table and then tracking your finances a bit better, you'll have more control, more confidence that you've actually got your shit together. The next part would be find something you resonate with. Trading, drop shipping, Amazon FBA. I mean, I know nothing about Amazon FBA and drop shipping or anything like that. Investing, affiliate marketing, I mean, limited knowledge for myself on that. But when it comes to trading, that's what I'm an expert in. That's what I know about. That's what I've built my craft for 17 years. So I know that. But pick something. I don't care what you pick. Commit to something to learn. An hour an evening is all you need. And if you can commit to that, you will transform your life in 2 to 3 years from now. Because then you can say, well, you might be one of these people that have always had that excuse, which is, do you know what? I would love to build a second income. I would love to be in a position where I'm learning something more and investing to a course, investing to just building that skill. But I just don't have the money, Mark. Now you do, because we just trimmed the fat. So you do have the money. You always had the money. You just had more excuses and you weren't willing to give up a little bit of leisure for a better life in the future. But I can assure you this, what's going to be more painful is that in the future, when you're 40, 50, 60 years old and you've barely got any money left at the end of the month, and you look back and regret thinking, I could have given it a go, just didn't really have the belief or the confidence to do it. So let this video be the confidence that you just get your shit together and start moving forward. Listen, I come from a council estate. I know what it's like to not have any money and feel like, well, is this ever going to be possible? Can I ever do something like this? It absolutely is. So if I can do it, with all the stress that I had going on in my life, you absolutely can. So I'm saving you time here. I'm saving you money. I'm saving you a headache to prioritize the right things. The last thing that you need to prioritize is this. As you begin to make more money, as your life starts to improve, you need to live below your means. This is where people get it wrong. It's why they go broke. It's why they fail in life, they fail in business, and they end up going back to work when they quit, if that's their prerogative, is because they didn't live below their means. As soon as they get more money, people just haven't got brain cells because they've never been taught this way. When they have more money, what do? They just spend it, because you'd think that's the logical thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, hey, they'll talk to their partner and say, we've got an extra £4,000 in the bank. Oh, we've saved a little bit more this month. And then they'll look around their house and go, do you know what? The sofa's looking a bit knackered. Think we should get a new sofa? And just suddenly they'll have reasons to spend that money because they're uncomfortable with it. I've done a video on the financial thermostat on this channel. If you want to learn more about why you behave that way, you can go and check out that video. It will help you a lot. So I'm getting into little subtopics here, but I'm explaining this to you because you've got a golden opportunity, you've got 2 to 3 years, get your shit together, get control over your money, pick something, make a decision. 2 to 3 years from now, sacrifice, you'll be in a phenomenal position and you'll thank me so much. It'll be the best thing that you ever do.